This is, as I guess we all know, based on a very popular and successful series of books, and therefore has an existing fan base. A lot of who I think are here. Is that intimidating to take something like that on? Yeah.
That's a yes.
Yeah, leave it at wow.
We were going to start
Drop it, Colin.
I'm wearing my MC Hammer pants for a reason here. I do feel like a rock star with this. It's quite cool. I was a fan of the books before I was cast, but I'm not big on social media, so I had no concept of how big the fandom was when I signed on. And then the casting news came out, and all of a sudden, like Twitter, Facebook, blogs, everything blew up. And I didn't realize that there were like 22 million copies sold worldwide. I literally walked into a bookshop, looked at a spine of a book, picked it out, read it, fell in love with it, found out they were doing a movie, and thought there was, like, I discovered a new series, but I had no idea. So I didn't sign on knowing that there was a big fandom, but then later, I guess the pressure came up later when I realized there was. But I didn't ever really feel super nervous about it because I was such a fan. It was just like a huge honor. And I was more excited than anything else. I think the nerves are only now really kind of coming into play when everyone keeps asking, "Are you nervous?" It's like, should we be? It's like, this makes me more excited, but also nervous. Seeing as though we've been greenlit for a second, it's like I hope you like the first one because it's kind of too bad there's another one coming.
Get used to it.
You like it, yeah.
The hysteria that we've come across along the tour, along the promotion, it's just been absolutely insane. Like, examples of this. All throughout, I mean, I joined. Woo! See, look at that! Calm down, you're so excitable. Relax with it. But I only joined the promotional tour in Los Angeles. These guys have been across, parts of United States. They've been in several malls there, and even in LA, and then we moved to Toronto, and everywhere we went, we were met with this brilliant reception. They're die-hard fans of the books all across North America. And this is our first European leg of the promotional tour, and it's just been the same everywhere. It's just it's an international phenomenon, it seems.
Have you had anyone sort of come up to you and go, "The thing is, the Jace in my head looks a bit different"?
Yeah.
How is that?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, stop it. Behave yourself. You just. Oh, please. Stop it. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. That's the English self-deprecation for you there. I mean, to begin with, of course. But, now I think the fact is you guys are sort of stuck with it now. So you kind of have to accept it a little bit. But, it's like everyone has been very supportive, since all the trailer and since the clips have come out and since the first image was released. I've experienced nothing but positive vibes, and that's a really really lovely thing to receive. And there's a book made that for me, and it's it makes me emotional. But it's a really nice thing to. So
about 300 people welling up.
Yeah. Anyone got any
well
tissue?
Done, Jamie.
Yeah. Let's have a quick look at a clip from the film. This is the first time that only if you want to. This is the first time Clary sees Jace in the daylight. Harold, when you're working from such a fully formed world, the world created by the books, how difficult was it to work out what to keep and what to lose? 'Cause I guess there's a sort of pragmatic element to it where you can't have it all in there.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, first of all, I became a fan myself, and I kind of got attached to what I wanted to keep. And then I was very lucky to work very closely with Cassandra Clare, who's very understanding of the filmmaking process. And we basically just went back and forth. The first draft I read of the script was without a bunch of things. And then I read the draft, and I liked the idea of it. And then I read the book, and I was like, oh, my God, we got to put this in. We got to put this in. And then it ended up being a really, really big script. And then we had to trim it down from there again. But that has been one of the bigger challenges, is to make sure that we kept what we knew that the fans loved, and to make sure the story made enough sense for people who hadn't read the books. But up until the very last cut, we were still dropping in little lines to build the bridges between the information that you need.
I think you told me the first cut of the movie was like 3.5 hours long.
Yes, it was, yes.
That's such a shame.
That'll be on the DVD sometime.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
And if you three want to avert your ears quickly, were you pleased with your cast, Harold?
Pardon?
Will you
Oh,
please
yeah, I love it.
recast?
I mean, now, I couldn't imagine anybody
Stop
else doing
listening,
this.
Lily.
Yeah.
God, sorry. I'll take a phone call while we're
yeah.
No, I know it's unbelievable how these guys are perfect for the parts. It's Lily was already on board when I came on board. That's partly the reason why I wanted to do it, because I think she's an amazing actress. And then
Sorry, Mom.
yes, and Jamie was on the hot list, and there was some other name floating out there, and I just ignored all the other chitter chatter. I thought he is absolutely Jace to me. Yes, and he proved to be absolutely perfect. You know, I think that half angel thing comes across very nicely.
He's flirting with me now, isn't he? Phil.
And then Robbie didn't exactly look the part, so we had to put on some glasses and do a bit with his hair and
Yeah.
and
They had to
also-
wash me.
Yes.
Hose you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was the accent, which I think he also mastered terrifically. And then once you've learned to love them, there is now absolutely no other option. Nobody else could be these characters, I think. So I'm very happy with them. And they're also fantastic actors. I mean, I dragged them through the mud and through the rain and in the cold and everything. Never one word of complaining. They just loved doing it all. I think.
It just
It was like
Very
grumpy.
good
Yeah.
acting.
The editors managed to cut that out.
There's a few elements in the film that I found quite surprising. Firstly, some of it is terrifying.
Yeah.
I've really jumped. Were you aware of that? Because you're right on the cusp, I suppose, when you're making a film that's going to get a 12 certificate. Like, I was scared, and I'm 34.
Well, I think I was inspired by movies like that scared me, like The Exorcist, and I think when you deal with demons and dark areas, you shouldn't hold back. You should absolutely make people scared, and I think there is a version of this movie or this story that has real elements of reality, and I think just as we treated the characters truthfully, how does a girl react when she finds her mom is gone? How does she react when there's a weird creature in her house? You know, we had to be really true to those things, and just as we were true to those things and to the love story, we needed to be true to the scary bits.
The other thing that I noticed, films like this, I think, can sometimes be earnest, but this had a sense of humour. It's funny. Like, I laughed in it, which is really rare. Is that something that you wanted to make sure that you brought out?
Yeah, I think I've been fortunate enough to spend a few times like this with Cassandra and her fans, and she's like a stand-up comedian. She's incredibly funny, and I think there's some great funny bits in the book, some great quotes and some real fine humor. And I thought as long as we keep the seriousness real and serious, then it's always time for a little laugh. And also, I think one of the things that I didn't want to have a damsel in distress that was just stressed out all the time, so we needed to create little pockets when Lily actually could smile. Remember, we talked about that in one of our first meetings, because I can't stand those movies when there's like a girl in distress and she's just a victim. But then in this one, so she has moments of lightness, and the humor does that too. And I think to have that balance, it gives you a little breather in between all the scary bits.
And it's kind of nice having your character there as well, Robert, because he's kind of like us. He's kind of like the audience, sort of reacting to
Absolutely.
what's going on.
Yeah,
It's sort of like,
yeah.
what the? Which means you get a lot of kind of fun lines to play with.
Totally, yeah. It is always fun being the normal guy, you know, at the back of the group, cowering in terror and kind of having brow furrowed, going, "What the hell is going on?" And kind of digesting the whole world through. I think what my character's armor very much in the film is kind of his wit and it's something to deflect all of the madness that that's going on, and it's kind of acts very much as his armor, whereas the Shadowhunters have badass leather mail and weapons. He's kind of at the back making snidey, slightly sarky comments. But yes, that was a lovely thing to play with, and there's a lot of comedy that can be juiced out of that. But I remember, like in the beginning, Harold saying, everything has to be played absolutely seriously down the line. Never can you think that this is a moment where you're going to deliver a funny line, because that is the most unfunny thing in filmmaking. So, he was always there on hand to remind us to take everything absolutely seriously. And I think that's when the best comedy, comes out.
There is also I guess it has happened in films before, but I can't think of one more than a love triangle. There's effectively a love
Cube.
square.
Cube.
So there's the
Yeah.
three of you, and then Alec as well.
Kevin
Yeah.
Zegers.
Yeah.
We love Kevin.
We love
And it's
Kevin.
so complicated, I loved it.
It's actually a love pentagram because there's Magnus Bane too, who's
True. A love pentagram. That's got to be a
That's
first.
true. Yes. Oh my goodness. It's getting really
It's a
complicated.
love
here.
hexagon.
But then there's also Isabel who jams along a bit
Yeah,
later.
kind of goes.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
realised it's really, really messy.
Yeah.
Everyone
really
has their eye
messy
on
story.
someone
I know,
else,
yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that word.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think a lot of people have been sort of asking, I suppose, in interviews, particularly because we've been touring with Kevin, like myself and Lily, sort of the importance of having a gay character in a modern movie, and I suppose I get the question, I think, but also it's sort of neither here nor there in the same sense that having sort of a female heroine, yeah, I understand its importance, but sex and sexuality nowadays isn't really something that's at the forefront or shouldn't be at the forefront of a bone of contention. It should be, I think we're all sort of wise enough and old enough and ugly enough to realise that we're all human in a way. We do have the love triangle, we do have the love cube, and we do have the love pentagram, or whatever you want to call it.
Let's go with pentagram.
Let's go with pentagram.
That's the most magical, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's the most spiritual. It's the most spiritual kind of love. But we're all I think, we were all very much aware of our own character's sort of development within that story as well. Jace is a shadow hunter before any of this story starts, with the movie and his and the book as well. And his world is starting to turmoil by the arrival of Clary. Clary's world is just constantly shifting, and it's a continuous shift of what the bloody hell is going on here? What what is this? And how do I fix this? And Simon, who's thrown into this world of the shadow hunters and whatnot, also is finding his voice in the ability to be able to tell her about his, secret feelings of, as you have said in the past, sexy love romance.
Or different variations.
And that's
of that,
a direct quote from the film, weirdly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What I love, I think part of what separates us from other franchises, particularly, the one that we're most compared to, is that this isn't necessarily
God knows what that
Just-
would be.
No way. This isn't a romance. It's an urban fantasy, and romance is involved, but the men in Clary's world don't define her. It's not about being an object of desire or being in this triangle and trapped. Like, she never victimizes herself, and she allows herself to be vulnerable, be strong, fall in love, figuring it all out during this kind of tumultuous journey. But she's single-mindedly trying to find her mom, and that's what's propelling her forward. And so she doesn't just wallow and wait, and she really propels the story. And so the love story is pivotal, but at the same time, it's not defining the story. So so in that way, it's an amazing element, but it's not just for girls, like the romance.
Shall we have a look at another clip? Here, Clary is feeling a bit peaky, but she goes into the institute and it's fine.
Bit peaky. Jamie, take your clothes off, mate. Come on.
Later,
these women
later, Robbie, later.
It is
Come on, we're in
fair
front
to
of
say
people.
that you guys are topless, both of you, quite a lot in the film.
That's actually in my contract.
Yeah, I was going to say, was it contractually, so I'll only do the film if...
Yeah.
I had
it
to
was
try keep please put your shirt back on.
Yeah,
Robbie.
it doesn't work in this scene. I
It was a
know.
struggle trying to get him to put trousers on, to be
Yeah.
fair. Like,
that scene. I
it's a
saw
wonder.
that first poetry reading scene. I was like, can't I have my shirt off? It's just better.
Shadowhunters are, I would say, quite fashionable. Did you keep any of the clobber?
Did I keep any of the club? I kept the Morgenstern ring. which I wear. I was fortunate enough to be out in Toronto like a month before we started shooting because I called the producers up and I was like, look, I want to work really hard at this. I want to do, learn all the fights and whatever. So I was there sort of. A movie is very fun to make because everything sort of seems to work really, really well up until like the 3 weeks before shooting where everything just falls apart.
Which is now what we're at for the sequel.
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing.
Right,
It's amazing to witness. So I remember calling up Robert Colzer, our producer, and going, "I want to be there when the, when it hits the fan." Basically, and he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, just training and whatnot." So I was able to work with Gersha Phillips, our costume designer, quite closely on the look for Jace. And originally we started quite sort of samurai in a way, quite matrixy. And then I was like, I sort of would prefer it if it was more like streetwear, because I'm very affected by anything that I go and see, or sort of, by music or by cinema, by art or whatever, really. And I quite like going to the cinema and seeing something and going, oh, I would wear that. So I sort of wanted the Shadow, or Jace particularly, his look to be streetwear. Unfortunately, I didn't get to keep any of it, but what they have done is they've cut it up and they've put it in cards that you all can buy. So
you
if
guys
in
have
movie
these
2,
clear
Jace
outfits.
is naked throughout the entire thing,
free
that's
to sew it
it's
back
for you
together
guys.
and
We've
send
done
it to
that
Jamie.
for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that
exactly.
is really
Send all the cards back, and I'll just like sew it
it
back
back.
together, like piece
Especially
by
think
piece.
they should have kept hold of it because we're making a sequel.
I know.
We
right?
have to do all that work again, make the thing again.
Yeah, although I will not be sad to see my short top dress and thigh-high 6-inch leather boot heels go. That unfortunately was already written in the book as having to wear that, so I did have to wear that. Although we did have a stunt version which was an inch longer, which was very beneficial.
Oh yeah.
Extra inch.
Longer.
I tried to
They've really
reserve
spoiled
those.
you
Yeah,
there.
Robbie tried to
I
reserve
tried to
them.
reserve
Yeah.
those, but they wouldn't fit. So
So you went back to topless, bottomless.
Yeah.
It was easier that way.
The tattoos must have taken ages to get done. Are you tempted to get them done for real to save time in a makeup chair in the future?
Kevin Zeger said the other day that if we get greenlit for like 6 movies, he'll get one done on his neck.
The big one.
The
with
neck
his
one?
Yeah,
No.
and I was like, dude, that is full blown. Like, that is anything above the shoulder is pretty full on.
Only if production pays to take it off
Yeah.
after the sixth one.
I might get Lily Collins' face tattooed on my face,
Yeah.
so that I can just steal all her next jobs.
Yeah, so you can get more screen time.
So I can get more screen time.
Well,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
get more screen time, basically.
Technically,
Yeah.
yeah, I could just be chilling in my trailer.
But yeah, it does. It takes a long time, Rick, to answer your question seriously and to not be.
Thank you. No, I'm very interested
a
by
silly
Kevin's
bit.
vibe, actually.
That
It's,
was one of the bonuses of being a mundane on this movie
Yeah.
because these guys were all in at 2 hours before filming every morning, getting rune tattoos on and getting like Jamie getting his real tattoos covered over, right? Which was about 4 hours all in all, where I was asleep for all of that. I was very much unconscious and then would roll in about half an hour before filming and put a t-shirt on. And
or not.
Or take it
not.
off.
Or take off.
You came even later when we didn't have to put that T-shirt on. Then.
I love the fact, you roll in topless and you have to put a t-shirt
I know.
on.
Hey guys, I'm ready. I'm ready for my close-up. Yeah.
You mentioned training for the fight scenes. The fight scenes are quite brutal. Can you all handle yourselves now?
Someone asked me this the other day. I don't. Yeah. Well. Yeah. No, probably. No. My brain's like a sieve. I very much learn it and then it goes away. But that was Harold really. Throwing that in there. He was very much whatever we can do, and as much as we can do, the better. So there was only one gag that I wasn't able to do. Same for you, and same for Kev. And so
And that's
it's
unable
great.
because of insurance reasons, not because of physical reasons.
No, we were like, you're thrown across the table and thrown
Getting
into a
slammed
wall.
against walls. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that and thinking, my God, that girl is dead.
She literally dropped like a
Oh wait,
fly.
no, that's Jamie.
That's Jamie. That happened quite
That
a
blonde
bit.
lady is dead.
I want to talk a little bit about Jonathan Rhys Meyers. In fact, let's have a clip of him being dastardly, first of all, so you get the idea.
Oh my God.
Where is it?
Pentagram of love. See?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
There you go.
Very romantic scene.
Yeah, very romantic.
Rather proud of that pentagram, actually. That was it's hard to do.
Oh, bet it was.
Yeah, 'cause it was something we had to work out and make sure that it was looking like a pentagram from one angle and then like a complete mess from another angle. And it's one of those in-camera effects we did, which we were really happy with, because then nothing is manipulated. It was very, very tricky to find that exact spot with the camera.
Yeah.
Well, entirely successful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Jonathan Rhys Meyers as Valentine is very, very intense to the extent that he scares me quite a lot.
Yeah, he scared
what
me.
was he
Scared
like to
everyone.
act
Scared
opposite?
everyone.
Oh my God, he walked onto set. He's lovely. He's a lovely guy, but when he became Valentine, it was like the whole energy of the room like sucked out, in like the best way possible. Like he's just terrifying. I think he elevated. But I want to say both of us. Like he elevated us to like such a different level when he entered in, because Valentine is like the character that you it's like Lord Voldemort. You like fear him. You like get chills.
He who
you know?
shall not be named. Sorry.
Yeah.
Formerly known as.
Yeah, the artist formerly known as.
The artist formerly known as. But honestly though, he genuinely brought fear to me.
Yeah.
And those were the scenes that I was almost most nervous about. Like the one scene with Jamie, him and I, where like the big thing is revealed. That was a massive scene that I was so nervous about, because as a reader of the books, it's the epitome of every emotion, you know. And he just brought an energy. He would constantly throw in things like improv, like scream at me multiple times when I wasn't expecting it to get reactions. I mean, by the end of it, I literally would see him and my back would go up. You know, it was like, it was terrifying.
Yeah, I was terrified of him, and I wasn't even on the same set.
You could hear him like
I
miles
hope we never
away.
even met him.
I think that
You could
the
hear me
scene-
whimpering from about 25 yards away.
The scenes that Lily had with Jonathan was fantastic, because she, again, and that's a compliment to Lily and the character, is that she wasn't just only afraid, she really stands her ground. And I think that's a beautiful scene when you actually talk back to him, because nobody else would do that. And you just show that strength of, I'm not going to let you manipulate me. And I think that's I love when we did that thing and you were really fighting back, although you were terrified, you were fighting back. But he's one of those incredible actors, just completely embodies the character. And what it does is he no longer becomes the bad guy, he just becomes a real person who you understand why he does what he does. And I think that's very good for a villain, is that he thinks he's doing the right thing. And he was so emotional. I mean, like when he came on, he was, and after a take like this one, this is a complicated scene to do, he was drained, you know, and I just love that about him.
But his fight sequence with Jamie was one of the most intense. I had to leave set a couple times. Genuinely though, because the emotion that was coming out of you and Jonathan, it was like, it was insane. And then the fight sequence is amazing.
Yeah, they both get beat down like proper
Yeah.
hardcore. Like they both go at each other like full on, and like it's like it's tough. It's it's tough to do that, and it's sort of like playing sport with. I liken it to playing sport with somebody that's better than you. It ups your game. Like if somebody's better than you are at tennis, you naturally have to work harder to try and compete with them.
And somebody who plays tennis like.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, yeah, exactly. Or you just give up. Or
And
you
the
just
first
like,
swear
and we
of
can't
the,
give up because
Q&A,
we're getting
ladies and
paid
gentlemen.
to do our work. It's not like I go, do you know what? Screw this.
No,
I'm
you're
done.
stuck.
Like we're stuck there. We have to do the scene, and it works. It really does.
It's great when he comes in. It's such a gear change. you
Yes,
know,
the
it's
whole
just
set
like-
goes. Whoa.
Yeah. Explosion.
Bruising.
I think he'd take all this as a compliment. I can't quite work it out. A lot of people going, they come in and I'd be like, oh.
No, he'd love it. He would
Yeah.
He would
love
love
it.
that,
He would
yeah.
absolutely love it.
He's intense personified.
We've got about sort of 10, 15 minutes left, and we've had loads of questions in on Facebook and Twitter, and also, have any of you got any questions you want to ask the guys? I thought you might have. We'll have a mic going round. Let's start with this lady here. Can we get a mic to this lady here?
Hi. If your character came round for dinner, what would you cook them?
I like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't cook him anything. I'd get him Chinese from the local Chinese restaurant.
Nice.
There's a man who's read a book. or
I
two.
wouldn't cook him. I'd make him cook because he's such a nice guy. I could convince him to do it. Like, go on, mate, you're nice. You cook me some food.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she
Lily,
only-
what are you cooking?
She only, wow, God, she only goes out for coffee, doesn't she?
She did, yes.
No, you know what I would do? I would call these guys and have them come over and cook for us.
Yeah, good.
Nice.
Nice, I like that. It could be a cook-off.
It could
Yeah.
be it could be a bake-off and a cook-off.
There you go. It's
There you
Great
go.
British Bake-Off.
Yeah. I was going to show my age by making an Ainsley Harriott reference there. Well,
You could have said Keith
question
Floyd and it
over,
would have been worse.
Here.
Ainsley.
Hi. I was just wondering, what is your favourite thing about your characters?
Well, for me, I think it could be those Nike high tops that he wears, because they're really quite. I took a shine to them in a big way because they're very, very cool and vintage, and elitist. And I think his taste is very elitist, you know. And I mean, maybe that's the bigger picture. I like the fact that he's a little bit cliquish, and his taste is quite kind of specific.
Are you
And,
basically saying he's like Shoreditch?
yeah,
He's like
yeah.
he's like
He
proper
is, he's
Dalston.
Brooklyn. That's why he takes such a dislike to you.
Yeah, he's William. He's like Williamsburg hipster.
Yeah, that's
Very
that's
true.
the underlying message. But yeah, those shoes I took a real shine to, I must say.
I love that she's this like feisty, passionate, determined girl, and at the same time, she is so confused. She's going through an identity crisis. She cries. Like she finds the strength in her weaknesses, and I found that to be really empowering because she's like a normal girl, but she's also this like kick-ass superhero at the same time. So I like that those like comparisons.
I
Do you
like
feel
the
bad that you said shoes now, Robert?
Speaks a lot about Robert, doesn't it?
Yeah, you should see them though. They're really nice. They're really,
shoes.
they're really nice. Honestly.
Love shoes. Me. Jason's boots, big time. I guess like the fact that, you know, underneath the fact that he's a sort of shadow hunter and somewhat supernatural, you know, underneath that all he's ultimately human. You know, he feels real emotion and he's damaged. I like damaged characters anyway, and I love his damage. I love his baggage. Like Jace has so much emotional baggage, and I love that. So drawn to that.
Right, hands up again. Front with glasses here. Yep.
How similar or different do you think you are to your characters in the book or the film? Were they the same?
Something that I was drawn to right away is just that Clary is extremely close with her mom, you know, and I'm really close with mine. So right away, the idea that she's searching for her mom and would stop at nothing to get her back is something that I would feel that I would do if I was in this situation. And I'm, you know, the way that I got involved with this project, like I said, was I read a book, found out they were making it into a movie, and I made phone calls and emails about getting involved. So I'm definitely a passionate, determined person, and that's what Clary is. So I think in that regard, passion definitely runs through both our veins very strongly.
I hide my insecurities through comedy sometimes. Like sitting up here, I feel quite.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, well, we can both jump in on this.
Yeah, I'm that one as well.
Yeah. Well, like Jace is more just sarcastic and rude, and I can do that. Like I'm quite insecure sitting up here, and like I hide it through being no. But I'm not looking for like an R. I'm just like I'm serious though. Like it's like I can hide that through trying to be funny in some way. You know, and that's Jace does that by being rude, and that's the similarity.
I think with my guy, you know, people, the closest people in his life, i.e. Clary, he pits above all else in the world, you know, and I sometimes think that home for me isn't the actual place I came from. It's just it's the people I came from and the people I've picked up along the way. And that sounds, you know, terribly sentimental, but it's true, you know. So it makes home easier because home is a movable thing, you know. I'm not, you know, very sentimental about a place, you know. It's more the friends and family that I'm stuck with.
If someone can condense that into a bumper sticker, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
you
go for
possibly.
a Facebook question which just sort of ties into that. How do you, this is from Holly Mapana, how do you prepare for a crying scene? I guess just get that said to you, and then...
Ooh,
I can sing it to you.
Can I
Yes,
answer that?
yes, you
Because
can.
it was one of those. I mean, they all have really emotional scenes, and when you see the film, you'll be really impressed with how deep they went with their characters. And like with Robbie here, when he was going to do that scene where he declared his love for Clary, Robbie's always all over the place on the set. It's hard to find him. These two guys are always next to me, and they're where's Robbie? And then we go, oh, let's shoot, and where's Robbie? And he's always talking to somebody because he loves talking to people. That day, he was sitting in his chair in the corner and all boxing it all up. And I knew that he was preparing himself. So I decided to do the close-ups first. Not normally you just start wide shots and then you go closer, but I knew that he had boxed up all these emotions, and I shot his close-up first. And I remember it was incredibly emotional. I actually felt emotional just watching it, and that take made it straight into the movie. It was the perfect take right there.
Aha.
It's
Yes.
a great scene. It's an amazing.
There we go. There's my all. Come on.
And also the Lily has quite a few of them. She realizes so many devastating things in the movie, and I think all your emotions were incredibly moving too. And then it's Jace's scene in the greenhouse, which was where he finally opens up. I don't know how they prepare, but I just wanted to say that they are unbelievably great in the movie.
I want to thank you very much.
God, child bless yourself.
I think we've got time for 2 more questions. This lady here, yes. Yeah, good.
Hi, I have this question. Okay. To love is to destroy, and to be loved is to be destroyed. What do you think about this quote from City of Bones?
What do I think about the quote? To love is to destroy, and to be loved is to be destroyed. I think that I look for Jace. That's the way he thinks. That's his outlook on life, you know, and that's his experience of emotion. I think for each individual, it's different and it's separate. I think love and I think connections with other people are ultimately what is probably our purpose in life, you know, is to have those spiritual connections with others, whether it be within a relationship term or just a friendship term or just somebody on the street. There's a reason you hold the door open for some people sometimes. It's not to receive a thank you from them, it's just to make, you know, it's to sort of just have that connection. So I think Jace is just trying to protect himself by being a bit of a twat.
Yeah, very good answer. Yes, okay. Who's got a duck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
You
effort
with the duck.
with the duck. I mean, you deserve it.
Hi.
Hello.
In the books, Jace has a phobia of ducks. Having said that, would you be prepared to sign a duck with a fearless rune on it?
That's awesome.
Yeah, but we should give someone else a
Yeah.
I would,
It's a
I
riddle.
definitely
It's a real
will.
riddle.
But yeah, absolutely. If you pass a duck up later, totally will. But if someone
Okay, so that's a quick question. So we'll do one more. Yes, here.
2 things. One is
Well, maybe only one.
it's my friend's birthday, and I think you should wish her a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, friend.
friend.
What's your name?
Ramandeep.
Rowan Deep.
What's her name?
Ramandeep.
Ramandeep.
Ramandeep. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, love.
Should we sing then?
Many happy returns.
Happy birthday to you as well. Yeah, you got a massive button.
We
on the
can't
front as
just
well.
How can you
Centre
miss
stage.
that?
We can't just do birthdays.
That's
by
like
the
a
way.
hubcap, that thing.
And
Happy birthday badge.
What's your
Oh, is it?
question?
Yeah, go on.
I don't think, yeah. And my question is, what was your favourite scene that you filmed?
Good question.
Oh. Well, I found day one to be incredibly enjoyable and terrifying all at the same time. It's like the same way you find jumping out of an airplane terrifying and enjoyable. It mainly, in retrospect, you know, it's mainly the fear, and then afterwards the enjoyment on reflection. Because, you know, I was quite new to everything. I just arrived, and these guys had been there, you know, doing stunt choreography and badass fight training and everything. And then day one, myself and Lily had this scene, and it was on a locked-off street, and there were lots of extras and lots of New York taxi cabs and wind machines, and Harold running around like a madman, you know, going, right, I need this over here. And we were kind of thrust into the madness, and we just basically, it was a kind of a baptism of fire on day one. And it was just an absolute pleasure, because it was kind of the beginning of my inner child jumping up and down going, oh my God, look at this movie. Every day is going to be like this. And sure enough, it was.
Harold, what was? I've never heard your answer to this.
Yeah,
what
what's
was
your
what
answer?
Favorite
was-
scene?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to shoot.
Oh God, there are so many. I do think, and it goes back again every time, because you know, doing stunts and effects are very technical, but every time I myself got emotional from watching you guys, like when you sit over your mother in the end scene and you say, "Mom,
Don't give it away.
Oh, okay, I won't. It's just
Nah.
no, I won't give it away. No, but it's to stand behind the monitor and really connect and feel what you're communicating. And like I said, I choke up myself just by watching you guys perform, and that to me, because that's the X factor. That's the thing you can never really control or ask for. That's only what your actors can give you. All the other things you can always figure out. Those moments were for me absolute magical moments.
Yeah. I mean, Midnight Flower /
Greenhouse.
There you go. It's always a classic.
Yeah. No, but I mean, genuinely, being a fan, being a girl, reading these books, you read them and all you want is that moment. You know, you go the whole time, and you read it and you imagine it in your head, and it was just that.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful scene. It's a beautiful scene. That is unfortunately all we've got time for. Please give it up one last time, for the director, Harald Zwart, Robert Sheehan, Lily Collins, and Jamie Campbell Bower.